Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. We've got an exciting topic today, a pretty polarizing one. What if I told you that in 2025 we are getting a full reprint of English Disney Lorcana, the first chapter? Obviously, some people might say, hey, that's going to make this stuff way too readily available. Some people might say, hey, I wasn't around when the first chapter was here. This is going to give me a chance to get some of that precious, amazing set. Both of those things might be true, with the added caveat that we are going to be adding 200 million people into the ecosystem of Disney Lorcana with this reprint. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So this reprint news comes off the back of the announcement that Brazil, the country of Brazil, is going to be getting Lorcana. So we're going to talk about the rollout there, timeframes, what does that look like, language variants, etc. And then on the back end, we're going to talk about what does this mean for people who are holding the first chapter in terms of an investment, collectible, etc. If you have sealed boxes, what does that mean for you, in my opinion? So to start us off here in terms of the initial rollout details, etc. Of Brazil getting the first chapter, you can see here that they say set one arrives in English this May. So in a couple months, Brazil will have English, the first chapter of Disney Lorcana, but the best is yet to come. Starting in Q1 of 2026, Lorcana will be available in Portuguese, so one of the native languages there in Brazil. Obviously, they speak Spanish as well as Portuguese, plus Q3 2025 releases will be simultaneous with the US, so that's indicating that when Fabled comes, they will have Fabled in English in Brazil at the start of US having it, Europe, etc., kind of the worldwide releases. So we are getting towards like a worldwide rollout of these sets, whether that's, hopefully Australia, Europe, America, Latin America, anywhere that is getting the English game or plays the English game is going to be getting these sets at the same time, which is really exciting. Then hopefully, the Asian countries like Japan and China can coincide with their native languages to roll out the sets at the same time. And the world is kind of on the same release calendar. That way, when we're looking at organized play events, whether that's a DLC in China, America, Japan, right? You pick your country. It's all kind of coincided. Everyone's on the same release schedule. Everyone's playing with the same cards. So that way, when we get to qualifiers, championships, worlds, etc., those are all in the same timeline. And it truly is a worldwide event. And I've got to take a second here to just give Ravensburger all the flowers and the credit that they deserve. Obviously, Lorcana's been being worked on behind the scenes for years, right? But in terms of the game being rolled out, it didn't, touch people's hands and get played and actually release until 2023, late 2023, September. You fast forward to now, we're, 15 months later down the road, and now it's a worldwide game where we're getting new countries announced month after month after month. That is an insane level of go-to-market strategy and the ability to deliver from Ravensburger. So when I make my videos complaining about like, hey, I want a new art type, a new rarity, I want better communication, whatever, right? All the things that I think those are valid criticisms. But when you think about I've in my professional life, I see things from a bigger perspective, I guess. And so when you put on that kind of like Ravensburger cap and you're looking at the worldwide possibility of Lorcana, a new art type is something that is probably on the radar, and I do think they will deliver that. But they're talking about global expansion, right? So two very different tiers in terms of, what delivering resources and just, I guess, priorities for the organization. So very, very cool to see them deliver this. Brazil is a country of 200 million plus people that are going to be getting the game. So while there's a reprint of English, Disney Lorcana, I would kind of considering a first printing, since it is going to be a country that hasn't had it before. It is a reprint in the sense that obviously it's the native language. It's been around for a while. But overall, I think this is only great news for Disney Lorcana. When you have, this has always been, for those of us who have been around for a while, this was kind of foreseeable from the start. Now, we didn't know Lorcana was going to be able to deliver at this level, at this speed. But when you think about Mickey Mouse, I've talked about it a lot of people who are involved in the Pokemon hobby or community, and I have a lot of Pokemon cards. I have no ill will towards Pokemon. I hear all the time these people will say Pokemon's the most valuable IP in the world. And that is just, especially as it relates to TCGs. And that's just simply not true. If you combine the two most popular IPs inside Disney Lorcana with being Mickey Mouse and then Winnie the Pooh, I think Disney Princesses might be up there as well. But even if you just take two of them, it vastly outweighs that in terms of value of the IP of Pokemon. So taking Lorcana worldwide was always the plan for them. Now they're delivering once again at a very fast and high level. I think Disney is probably very excited as licensing this product through Ravensburger, probably generating a lot of interest in the game, generating a lot of hype just for Disney as a whole. So I think it's probably a wide success as the relationship between the two brands grows, that being Ravensburger, the licensor of Disney, the greater IP. So very, very exciting times. They also had a booth at Abrin, which is the biggest Latin toy fair in Brazil. Or in Latin America. So it's the Brazilian official release, got announced. They had a booth, they had a team. Obviously, hopefully they had some starter decks. You can see the cards in the background. I know historically they've had the ability for people to play the games. That's kind of where the demo decks came from and things like that. So it looks like they are going full bore in terms of rolling this thing out. So that is very, very exciting for Brazil. Now, how I think this will impact us and what does this mean for the English Disney Lorcana holder in terms of like investing, collecting, sealed product, everything like that. I'm going to speculate on that here now. I don't think this is going to impact us very much whatsoever. I think it will be very similar to what we saw in terms of the Australian release or Oceania release hitting English. And how that affected us in America. Right now on TCGPlayer boxes are around $330 to $350. It's been there for a few weeks now. We obviously a year ago at this time it was at about $220. It is now up to $350. It's seen very significant appreciation over that time. Whenever we got Australia, it kind of dipped it back down to like a $330 price point, and I think that that's essentially what it's going to do here. You can see that there is Australian boxes available on eBay, some of the cheapest out there for $350. I think that as this gets released in Brazil, they have the boxes, they start to list them for international audiences. I could see prices getting down to like $300, maybe even a little bit sub $300, depending on how much there is. But there is such a demand for the first chapter. The sell-through rate and the pure demand on this box is incredibly high, and for this set is incredibly high. So this is going to give people a chance. If you've been around for not that long and you kind of weren't able to get in the days where you could get a sealed case of the first chapter for $600, or you could get a box for $150 to $175, this is going to be your best bet most likely to really get in at a, let's say, hopefully sub $300 price point. Which I don't think is going to last very long. Because once again, you got to think, this is opening up the entire Lorcana ecosystem to an entire 200 million plus ecosystem of people. Sure, not all of those people are technically potential consumers or in the total addressable market, but by and large, this is another huge ecosystem of people that are getting access to Lorcana, and they're not getting their own kind of language variant being Portuguese until 2026. So I think that this is going to be, highly sought after there, and some of it's definitely going to make its way over here, but I don't expect it to have any sort of significant impact on our price per box. I would say if you're holding first chapter like I am, I have some boxes of it, not really impacting me at all. But once again, I have a very long-term time horizon when I'm talking about any sort of like sealed investment in Disney Lorcana. So I'm not really impacted. This is all good news for me. I'm very agnostic to the price going down in the short term. With that being said, if you haven't gotten any yet, this is going to be a great point to get in. And then if you have some and this, them continuing to print it makes you mad, get rid of it. Go fight over, Pokemon at your local Costco. I don't know what to tell you. This is the only good news. If you're taking a negative away from this, you are just looking at this through a very small lens. And so I don't really know how to help you with that, to be completely transparent. But this is very, very exciting. And then once again, if you have first chapter but you want more of it, this is going to be your best bet to get your cost basis down as they continue this global expansion. There's only so many, massive countries like this that they can expand to, where they're going to need a significant print run that it's truly going to see any sort of price movement across the global stage. Brazil being one of them. If they're going to market and they're going to have it by May 1st, they printed a lot of it. You're going to be able to get some of it on the secondary market. Now, how long does that last? Does it last for 3 months, 6 months? How long until we're up at 400 plus per box? I don't know. All I know is the first chapter is iconic. It's an amazing set. There's going to be a lot of people after it. And I think there's going to be some short-term price action in terms of you'd be able to get in at a lower cost basis. But I don't expect it to be around for too long. I do think just in terms of like forecasting the price a little bit, I can't see the future. I don't know what this is going to hold entirely for us in terms of English speaking and here in America and the UK, but I would say, or in Europe as a whole, but I would say I expect 350 and below in terms of box prices for the next 3 to 6 months. I would be very, very surprised if we were up around 400 before October of this year. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into that. I can't see the future. I don't know if more countries are being planned. At this point, they're rolling the game out every couple months to another significant population of the world. So I can't speak to what their future plans are or what their roadmap is. But if you're expecting to see any sort of short-term price action on the first chapter, I think it is only going to be downward pressure for now. Obviously, that's going to correct over time, and I have no long-term concerns with the first chapter. But there is going to, it's just going to go down the short term for a little bit. I don't know if that's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. I couldn't tell you, but I do think it's going to be a while until we get up above, 400, let's say, in terms of the next like big price marker. I apologize. Allergies are flaring up. My eyes are starting to water here. But that once again speaks to it could shoot the other way, right? They released this first print, or they released the first chapter to Brazil. It catches like wildfire, it takes off, and then they want more first chapter. Then we could start to see it really start to dry up across the entire world, right? For people who are collecting the first chapter. So adding 300 million to the ecosystem is no joke. That's a significant opportunity. It just depends on how deeply entrenched they really become with the game as a playable, with the game as a collectible, and just with Lorcana overall. So that is my kind of initial takeaways here. Hot off the press, worldwide release, very, very exciting news. And once again, just to end this video, shout out to Ravensburger for their amazing work thus far. This is a company that had no TCG experience. They came from a very successful 100-year track record of tabletop, game, toy, and puzzle success. They did not create any TCGs. They had never manufactured a TCG. And then they were able to win this license from Disney, right? They were able to go to market with it. They brought in industry experts like Ryan Miller and Steve Warner from companies like WotC. And now they're putting together this game and delivering it to the world in a truly short time frame when you think about the global scale and what they've been able to accomplish. So kudos to them. Cannot imagine the amount of hours they're putting into this and the amount of work that is going on behind the scenes to get Disney's approval, to meet with the right people in the right countries, find printers and everything that you need to do that, just a massive undertaking. And once again, this speaks to the potential of Lorcana. No other brand can do this. No other TCG can do this. Obviously, Pokemon and Magic being two that are widely accepted, and there definitely are probably Portuguese variants of those games. In terms of new TCGs coming to the market, you're not going to be able to do something like this. Like, even if, like, for example, let's talk about an up-and-coming TCG like One Piece. One Piece, very successful. People love the game. It's got a very, cult-like following. It's seen very similar success to Lorcana. One Piece as a brand and as an IP has a very finite amount of value. Now, that value might be high for that one brand, but it's nowhere near what it is for Lorcana. And that is why we're seeing worldwide expansion across the globe so quickly, because a lot of people know Mickey Mouse, a lot of people know Elsa, a lot of people know Cinderella, a lot of people know Winnie the Pooh. You name your favorite IP. We're getting Pixar in 2026. A lot of people know Buzz. A lot of people know Woody. Name your favorite Pixar IP. Insert favorite Pixar IP here. But this has been I've been talking about that on this channel for over a year. The total addressable market, the TAM for this game is the biggest that the TCG world has ever seen. The vertical integration between how Ravensburger and Disney can get people exposed to this game is unmatched. There are Disneylands and Disney worlds across the entire globe. And so that, once again, this is cool to see it come to fruition for, once again, those of us who have been around for a while talking about it. It's kind of been like a pipe dream. Like, look, this is the potential, but Ravensburger, the caveat's always been there. Ravensburger has to continue to deliver at a high level. And once again, I can't even imagine like the amount of hours that they're putting into this. So it makes me feel a little bit bad for criticizing for like rarity tiers, arts, etc. Now, once again, they have to continue to execute. They have to fix these things that are wrong. I do think it's bad. that we only have one chase tier. I think they'll address it. They're worried about rolling everything out to the world right now in terms of global expansion. This just makes me so excited. I feel like Lorcana still has such an organic following. It's not like, look, it's big, right? I'm not trying to belittle the significance of it, but it's not like you're not seeing Lorcana. Like if you flip through like these, whatnots or TikToks or pick your rip and ship, you're not seeing a lot of Lorcana being ripped like that. But when I go to set champs, I'm seeing a full store. Whenever I'm making these videos, I'm seeing an awesome community interacting on my, YouTube channel and the Discord, etc. And I think it just feels very organic. A lot of us just making these foundational core memories with our families, experienceless IP at a ground level, right? The first chapter of Lorcana, the base set, is right now, right? 2025, still being printed. That's very, very exciting. And so if you're someone like me who's kind of got a deep connection through family and this just experience in this game overall, very, very excited, very grateful for just what Lorcana has done thus far, and very, very excited to continue to talk about it because it brings me a lot of joy. I've talked about that a lot on the channel, but this game, it means a lot to me, and I'm very, very excited to see their continued success. So with that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you mad? Are you scared? Are you happy? Are you excited? A little bit of everything, right? That's completely fine. Please let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear your feedback, and we'll be back with another video soon. Bye, guys.